This is Carmel, and this is your daily download. www.beingandbecoming.life to find out more about where I'm coming from and what I'm all about. It's pretty full energy right now, hey? Happy new moon, by the way. New moons, whether you believe in the cycles of the moon or not, they've come to be known as that which indicates the ending of one cycle and the beginning of a new cycle, a new phase. And today is a new moon. Or was it yesterday? I think it's today. And it's a heavy energy in many different parts of the world at the moment. Here in New Zealand, where I'm anchored at the moment physically, is the day after New Zealand police took a bit of a fall. The mainstream narrative put it across very well for the mainstream mentality, but from what I saw in the amount of footage that's out there and a lot of stories that could be embellished from different sides, I agree that that's a multifaceted potential on both sides. But you don't camp out for nearly a month in really insanely intense conditions with EMF waves turned up well over healthy, which, what's healthy, but you know. Grade 2 recorder music being stormed, blared out through government speakers all night round, with songs that could be deemed the most annoying on repeat. To then go and start fires doesn't make any sense. Although after that kind of level of torture, let's call it torture because that's what it is, torture, anything's possible because the nervous system is fried, the physical body is tired, and the brain has been tortured. And the person, the being, is having a traumatic experience. They've lost their jobs, they've lost their capacity to pay for their homes, their basic survival needs are threatened. When this happens from a government toward its own people, your very basic needs to survive are threatened at that level. Your capacity to respond rationally is compromised to quite a severe degree, right? And when you were raised, as I was, to trust the government, trust the police, go to the police if you need protection, if you need help, go to your government, they will support you, they will protect you. Well, when it turns out that that's not necessarily the case, something else starts to unravel inside of you. And a lot of people are having that experience at this time, and not just here in New Zealand, but all over the place. If the mainstream media can post something that shows one narrative, when it's very, very clear when you look at real life footage from another perspective, that narrative might not be the only truth that's going on. It might not be the only aspect of a certain conversation that needs to be had. And the basic premise of all the protests around the world right now are, let's come to the table and speak. In my child's preschool, there was a peace table. And when there was a fight amongst the 2, 3, and 4-year-olds that were there, they would have to go to the peace table and at least be present with each other if they didn't quite have the capacity to talk about it. But we're talking about adults, and adults who cannot come to a table to talk. It's like, what happened to the art of debate? What happened to the art of your turn, my turn, you speak, I speak, let's come to somewhere in the middle, and let's remember that you were voted in to serve us. Where is the serving of us? How come there is a top-down level of leadership that is still happening here when we live in a breadth of wisdom and intelligence and multiple different perspectives that need to be taken into account. What happened to the capacity for adults to evolve and grow in integral ways, recognizing that there is an internal and an external. There is an it and a we, an I and it and a we of perspectives that need to be taken into account. It's not just me, I'm the boss and I tell you what to do. That's so old and archaic. What happened to growth? So as systems crumble and fall down, and let's be real, the systems do not work. For the level of evolutionary growth and development that we're at this time, the systems we have in place do not work. So for them to work, they have to crumble, they have to fall down, and there has to be a certain amount of destruction. And when there's destruction happening from the levels up that they're happening at, that affect grassroots levels, but the change is coming from grassroots pushing, it gets messy, because the power, the dark force of power that is based upon the idea of manipulation and control, and I tell you what to do and you follow me because you are subordinate to me and I am your superior. That kind of top-down thinking don't fly anymore. So when it's coming like that, it does look messy and it does look out of control. And because there are so many multiple perspectives to look at things from, it takes a certain level of complexity to be able to view it from. So it takes a very complex intelligence. And I don't think we have that very much available in our government or in our police force. And that is a sad thing to admit. And I've found myself for many years now looking around going, who can I look up to? Who can lead this place in a way that has a sense of intelligence to it, that's open-minded enough to take into account the varying complexities and the layers that are actually present here. Because there's not just one truth. There are many truths that point to a whole. And that whole is dynamic and complex, and it's evolving. We are evolving creatures in an evolving cosmos, and so we need to sometimes devolve and destructure in order to evolve through restructuring. We need to build a force field of people who are intelligent in their capacity to think through multiple perspectives, multiple dimensions at very complex levels and layers. I'm not saying I have the answers. What I am saying is that together we can create the answers through looking at life through the various perspectives that we have available to us at our current level of development, that is open to the idea of evolution, that is open to the idea that the history we've been told, the way that we came to be here, maybe wasn't exactly how we were taught in school. Maybe there's more that we need to take into account and consideration. And that's why I, with my dear sister Amy Badney, have created the Emerging Earth Collective. You can find out more about that at beingandbecoming.life. Look under offerings and check down there for the Emerging Earth Collective. I also offer conscious conversations so we can work one-on-one to find out where we stand inside ourselves and what our powers and our strengths are, so that we can move through these times which, let's face it, are traumatizing. And we can do so being seen, being heard, being met, being held in the beauty of our unique, authentic source connection. Because that's where our inner healing ability turns on and activates. And that's where we can really rise as the lights that we are and shine bright. And the brighter we shine, the darkness can't survive. The darkness cannot survive through the light that we are. When you go into a dark room and you turn on a light, the dark dissolves. We are those lights, and we need to shine bright at this time. Don't focus on what's falling down. Focus on what you want to build. And what we want to build is not a top-down model. What we want to build is broad, and it spreads and ripples out. It links arms and it moves forward in a way that says, we're together, because together we rise from here. www.beingandbecoming.life. I love you.